In order for Griggs County Commission.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Roll call. John.
Here.
Dale.
Here.
Mark.
Here.
Sean.
Here.
Troy's here. Are there any additions or corrections to the agenda?
Thank you.
Move to approve the agenda as presented.
Been moved by Sean to approve the agenda as presented. Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second.
Seconded by Mark. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Look at the minutes for the June 7th meeting, please. Any additions or corrections to the meeting minutes from June 7th?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes and dispense with the reading.
It's been moved by Mark to approve the minutes from the June 7th regular meeting and dispense with the reading. Is there a second?
Second the motion.
Seconded by Sean. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Now, the special meeting from the 14th of June. Take a look at those minutes. I didn't really go through all these parcel numbers. I presume you and David did that.
Yep, absolutely.
I'll move to approve the June 14th minutes as presented and dispense with the reading.
It's been moved by Sean to approve the June 14th meeting minutes and dispense with the reading. Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Mark. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Now take a look at the bills.
If you guys would go to page,
We paid that Dahl Consultants one already, didn't we already approve that one? $1,000 for that hydrology study, didn't we take action on that?
Yeah, we added it later in the meeting, didn't we?
I think so.
We didn't pay them.
We didn't pay it until now. It's gonna get
Or we
paid.
were just made aware that was coming.
No, I think Wayne had it at the meeting, correct?
Yeah, I had
I
the,
mean,
Seems like we approved it, I don't know.
we did the
Yeah, I
bill,
think
we
we
did
had
the
it.
bills and then you brought it up when we got to you.
Yeah, I think we
yeah,
could have paid it, yeah. Also on page 6, down at the bottom, Griggs County Abstract Company. That's that, bill for the abstract for the
Binford property,
Binford property.
so I figured.
I got it coming out of general courthouse, just wanting to know if that's the right account you wanted it taking out of. Or
well,
I-
yeah, because the
General.
county will own the property, yeah,
Mhm.
so it's not,
The motion to pay Dahl Consultants is in the minutes here, so.
yeah.
What's that?
Recorders Convention.
Oh. It says install software.
Is that the account she's got it coming out of?
Yeah, it's the same one as the right one right above it, that's underground vaults and storage.
1541. Yep, that's the one that she has it coming out of. Software install and digitize.
Don't we have,
She does have money in the travel budget.
in her, there's a travel budget within the recorder's office?
Within
Wouldn't
the-
you think it would come from that?
It's within the document preservation account.
Wouldn't that be the place for that?
Yeah, I'll talk to her about it and
Okay.
see if that's where she wants to take it out of.
Any questions on the bills?
Page 7, general dues, 5114.
South Central Dakota Regional. That was split up between the 3 cities and the county. We waited until we got the 3 cities money, and then now we pay all of it to South Central, but we've gotten it from Binford, Hannaford, and Cooperstown.
So why is the balance $5,000 over?
This doesn't show any income. This is just the expenses.
Okay, so for next year, we should, if we're gonna keep doing this this way, we should put this in a special in and out account.
Yeah.
So it does just that.
And then put just 1/4 of the dues into our
Right, and
dues.
we could pay the in and out account. We could put 1/4 of the dues into the general fund. We could write the check to the in and out account when the rest, everybody else got in, then it would be paid.
Yep.
That would keep it straighter.
Yep, for your guys' purposes, yeah.
Move to approve the bills as presented. Do we need to do any more with the doll one, or just include it with this, or?
It'll be included with all of these. It didn't get paid beforehand.
Right.
Been moved by Sean to approve the bills as presented. Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Second by Dale. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. John?
Aye.
Dale?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Sean?
Aye.
Troy votes aye. Motion carries. Wayne?
I think we have, Paul has talked to Tom Gilbertson about a change order for a County Road 26 project. And if Paul has anything more on that?
Yeah,
Description?
I'll just use up the rest of the state funds. And we're just gonna, I guess I just figured 300 or 400 feet long, get some change order there, just to get a quantity that would cover the remaining balance.
Sure.
And then revise the reimbursement request to take that into account also.
Okay.
Get the maximum. So that's also in the packet.
Is there a motion to accept change order number 2 and revise the reimbursement request?
So move.
Been moved by Mark. Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second.
Seconded by Dale. Are there any questions on this for Paul or Wayne or Tom or anyone? Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. John?
Aye.
Dale?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Sean?
Aye.
Troy votes aye. Motion carries.
Thanks, we got the Decker Bridge inspection done. Report's been submitted to DOT, we got a copy of that. The dimensions haven't changed at all since last year, so it's, basically just the same as it was. Doesn't get any worse. Sutton Seal project, the contractor asked if they could work July 4th and then take Friday off instead of working, because per the spec, they have to ask in writing to work on the 4th. And they think it's just gonna take one day to do the seal, they come back Monday and do the spot seal. So, I guess we probably have staff that would be able to cover that if you guys don't have any opposition to that. It's up to Wayne and the commission.
Doesn't change the cost to the county.
No, it'll make a difference at all.
Have at
Well, we probably better have that before we do
And then the pre-construction conference for that is,
I'll second the motion to have at it.
I'd move we allow the contractor to work on the 4th of July on the construction project.
Been moved by Sean and seconded by Mark to allow the chip seal project contractor to work on the 4th of July. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Then we're just gonna have the pre-construction conference for that same project on June 27th at 1 o'clock here in Elder, in the courthouse.
Okay.
On the box culvert project, we haven't had any word back from Riley Brothers on that, so that's why we made the change order for the amount that we did to get the reimbursement on that project rather than over there.
Okay.
We did email them, they said they were gonna get back to us by the end of last week, and they didn't, and not this week either. I checked this morning, hadn't been paid out. Then after that, we don't have any action to take this meeting necessarily, there's something to think about with, would be the minimum payment policy for the right-of-way for that project when we had the
Yep.
federal aid program review. The state sent me an email yesterday saying the county can adopt the DOT's minimum payment policy or draft their own. Since we're talking about almost a half acre, the value may be about the minimum payment threshold, which is $600 for the state. They say you or the county would first need to determine if the value of the property that was acquired. A good place to start is the 2019 county rents and values that NDSU puts out, which we use quite a bit for that. Once the value is determined, the county should offer the landowner the fair market value for the property, which is that notification and appraisal waiver form that we send out. I think I brought that to go to the previous meetings. So if the county sets the value of what it would sell for in the open market, they can offer that or the minimum payment, but they still give the landowner the option to donate. So, I mean, it would just basically one more form.
Jamie was doing that?
What's that?
Jamie was doing that, or?
I don't know if he was, Jamie was gonna do anything with it or not.
I haven't sent it to Jamie yet, I just got it yesterday.
Okay.
So it might be something that the commission would need to take action on to set that value. So basically you'd have to set the waiver valuation for ag land or for pasture land would be the cleanest way to do it. And then you can also either adopt the DOT's minimum payment policy. So say if you have a half acre that's valued at $1,000 for $1,000. Let's say it's $1,000 an acre, just to make it easy, and you have a half acre of property. You offer them $500. The DOT's minimum payment policy would be $600 for permanent right of way. So then you give them $600 or the option to donate it still. It's all in the same form.
Do you have any examples of that type of a form you could give us to kind
Sure.
of get started?
And I guess when we did waiver valuations up in Ramsey County, we involved the tax director because they had comparable sales to use. And they just wrote a letter to the commission, I believe. That's what happened. I don't know if that's something that you want Jamie to work on or David or how that works.
I thought Jamie was involved with it to start with,
Okay.
wasn't he?
Yeah.
Okay.
Isn't he the one that got the easement?
Yep.
So, why wouldn't we just use the state's minimum? And if the landowner wants the minimum, then send them $612 or whatever it is, and if they don't want anything, they don't have to take it, right? Or what?
Right. That's, yeah. But then you also have to set the valuation per acre. So you know whether or not you're at that threshold. And that's where the state valuations, I guess, would work. They have one for, let's see,
Well, that wasn't the egg land that we
it was more, it would be pasture if anything, right?
were trees or something.
Okay.
Wasteland.
Huh?
Wasteland. Yeah.
So the DOTs, or the state average from NDSU for non-irrigated pasture land in Griggs County was 1,127 an acre for 2019. I guess
Yeah,
that was
but
done in 18 though, so,
that wasn't even pasture land, that's,
It was irrigated,
yeah, it was, that's non-productive, I mean,
right,
that was you couldn't get in there to even cut anything for hay, I don't believe, I think it was too rough for that, wasn't it?
Where at?
I think they're talking about where you put the box culverts in.
No, that's never been utilized.
Never
It's
been farmed or anything,
No,
I'm
there
sure
was
it
a
was.
ridge there.
Yeah,
okay.
But
Still somebody's property.
somebody's
They have to be
property.
offered.
No, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
but I
Fair
mean, we're
price.
trying to come up with a price to,
Well, I mean, the price is gonna have to be on the higher side of what the
I
land is,
suppose.
because it's a for sale, I mean,
yeah.
Right.
so, I mean, we're talking about a very few amount of acres, it almost has
Yes.
to, it almost has to be offered at a tillable price.
But are we comparing it, are we setting a precedent here, do you feel, that if the next time we'd have to offer the same kind of deal?
Well, by offering by offering somebody less than their land, they think their land is
Oh,
worth on a
absolutely.
sale that they don't, that they
Absolutely.
never initiated, I think
Yeah.
that's a precedence we don't wanna set.
But nobody will give us.
Because we don't have any recourse if they say no.
No, that's right.
Then you have to go through the whole process of eminent domain, and then you'll end up paying 100 times what that little parcel of land is
Sure.
worth.
Sure.
Right, and I guess when we've had they have the right to request an appraisal on the property, and, you know, the appraisal itself can cost, you know,
More than what this property would have been.
well, for sure, 3 or 4 times probably.
They've already given us the easement, their expectations aren't very high.
Yeah.
So,
But,
but
so,
Yeah, worst case, it'll cost the county $600.
But you still have to offer.
Yes.
right, so
No,
so
I'm not
budget high,
saying
ask
that.
what they want for it, and see if it falls within it.
right.
Okay.
You know,
Well, to use the waiver valuation process, though, the county has to set what that value is for, and I guess if we just wanna use that 1,080 from the 2014 to 2018 average of NDSU put together, that seems like a reasonable.
That's
approach.
tillable land,
That's
pasture.
non-irrigated pasture land,
pasture
Tillable.
land.
Yeah.
yeah. And if you wanna come up with a classification, you can sure do that.
I bet
too.
you wouldn't sell very much pasture in Griggs County for $1,180, whatever that is, 1,080.
Cropland was 2123,
Was what?
2,123 an acre.
and that's in Griggs County.
Yeah. And every year NDSU puts that average together. Oh, and that hay land, that's 1105.
That's actual sales, or what is it?
It says price of rented land, and I don't know what that's.
It's just an annual report they put out
Question
every
wording.
year. Cash rents, valuation.
Right. I mean, I know there's been some really escalated sales of pasture, but they're few and far between, and if there was,
Yeah, usually it has a high of
you should kick out the highs and lows.
And that's why if you guys have some comparable sales in the county, you can put together the valuation that way.
Right, and I don't have any on the top of my head.
No, I don't mean to do that today, I just, if the county wanted to put that together, should that come off of Jamie's desk with help from somebody else, or?
So we can't ask the landowner what they would like for the property?
Well, that is what they would respond with, I guess, if you make an offer based on something, you know, comparable sales, whatever, your waiver valuation, just, the purpose of that is so you set a value that you think is appropriate in the hopes that the landowner doesn't request an appraisal, because those are expensive.
No, I
And you
understand.
can, if they ask for more back after you've made your offer, if they make a counter offer, you can address that.
I understand what you're explaining, but my question is, can we go to the landowner and ask him what he wants for the property?
No. Apparently.
I don't know, can we?
Well, in setting your waiver
We're
valuation.
not buying the property anyway, we're just paying them for an easement.
I know. What does he want for the easement?
Well, and that's basically, so say if there's more than one landowner on the project, you follow the same process for everybody. You make an offer, you set the waiver valuation that you feel is appropriate. As a commission, you make offers based on that, and then they make a counter offer if they need. Or they sign off and say they'll donate it, or they'll take away from the minimum payment policy if you have one in place.
Minimum. That's-
What's that?
You said minimum payment.
Right, so if it's only a quarter acre and
Mhm.
it'd only be worth $300, you'd still pay them the $6. If you use that.
The thing is, they're requesting more information in order to settle that bridge project,
Right.
Yeah,
'cause they-
this is idiotic,
Mhm.
Yes.
but
It's the steps we gotta go through.
I get it. Somebody make a motion that we value non-cropland at $1,200 and we'll send them a offer for $600. Or they can waive it. I mean, why do we wanna make this harder than it is?
We didn't.
You are.
No,
In the
we,
process of
we're
it.
in this process because we didn't make it harder than it did.
I'll make that motion.
I moved by Mark that we set the non-crop value for easements at $1,200 an acre in Griggs County. Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second that.
Seconded by John. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. John?
Aye.
Dale? Mark?
Aye.
Sean? Troy votes aye. Motion carries.
Then do you want to make another motion to adopt the DOT's minimum payment policy of $300 for temporary easements and $600 for permanent? Or you can even just let it be adopting the DOT's, not put a value on it in case they change later on. Either way works, but that's what their current is.
You have to do the DOTs.
No, you can set your own.
I'll make a motion to adopt the DOT standards for.
DOT minimums payments for
minimum
easements.
standards.
Been moved by Mark to adopt the DOT's minimum payment standards for easements. Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second.
Seconded by Dale. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. John?
Aye.
Dale?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Sean? Troy votes aye. Motion carries. Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
We wanna talk about the gravel from the County Road 21?
I do.
Okay.
Nathan does.
Good.
Nancy does.
Anyway, we sent in, Tom sent in the gravel test, we all took tests and sent it in, and got it back, and still it wasn't giving me all that I wanted, because I wanted to know how much was sand and how much was clay, and so I had them do a hydrometer test on that, and they got the results back, and of the Retzloff pit gravel, the silt percent was 6.4, and the clay colloids was 6.1, for a total of 12.5 passing the 100 and to the 200 sieve, pass through the 200 sieve. And on the road, it was 17.6, where in the pile was 12.5. And so they tested that sample from the road, and 7.4 was silt, and 10.2 was clay. So evidently we picked up some clay or dirt from the road when we graded it up into a windrow. Or maybe the traffic even driving back and forth, splashed.
Well, there's chunks of dirt out there this big.
Well, that's from tractors driving down. There was a lot of traffic in and out of the fields and stuff, and the feed pastures.
It's in the
and stuff,
windrow.
so there was- Huh?
That mud is in the windrow.
Oh, in the window, yeah, it was the sand and the silt.
So what was the trouble then? Too much clay?
Well, so I asked people at Terracon if they could give any advice, and so he says, looking at the samples from the road, it will likely require adding rock to bring the number 4 sieve down, while adding a cleaner sand with higher amounts passing the 40 but not the 200 to cut the plasticity index down. Generally, when you have a higher plasticity index and the road is shaped to drain and compacted, it should shed the water. And I think, we agreed that, even Tom and I both agreed that, the ranges are too wide in some of the material that's going through the sieves, so if we could retain more larger stuff higher up through the sieve, I think it would help. That's the only thing I've got. I don't know how to remedy it. We have talked about adding gravel from Eberhard pit or headstrooms. And I think the only way we can do it is to, we put down about 500 yards to the mile of Retzlaff gravel. And if we added 200 to 300 probably off of the headstrom or the Eberhard pit, mixed it together, that should. There's more bigger rock in, especially the Eberhard pit. And if you get rock, the only thing is it isn't fractured, they're round, so they're not gonna, if you have the fractured rock, they lock together and they give you more strength.
So how's the road after it's been peeled now? Is it the base all right, or?
Yes and no.
Base is pretty good. I
Well,
think.
comparing what it was like before, yeah, it was okay to drive on. Right, I came past Mark and Nancy's just now, and of course that's always been a bad spot, and that's down to the base, that's down to the mud, to the dirt. It's not any gravel. But, right now, I think that Nick, thankfully you guys came the next day, you pushed it off the road, we haven't had that dangerous situation, but now the little danger which could present itself is that high ridge. As you go over the top of the hill, there's that ridge. You can't get off to the right of the road because the windrow it's not sitting on the edge, it's sitting on the road, on the edge of the road, not even completely to the edge. And through the woods as well. You go through the woods with implements like Tranby does, you meet somebody, you've got a situation there because cars you cannot go up there. Even I can go with my SUV, but I'm gonna hit that ridge. So it's still not a very safe situation having that big windrow. People have come down and said, what's that big stuff alongside the road? And I said, well, was our so-called gravel. But what I think is, my concern is that if you mix good quality gravel, just gravel, like I said, that would normally go on the road, and you're gonna mix it with what's in the windrow, you're still gonna have a subpar gravel because you have that silt and you have that clay in there. And when the rocks get eventually pushed into the ditch like they do, then what are you gonna be left with? You're gonna be left with the same silt and clay.
That's not the way it's gonna happen, cause south of Macville, that road was just like that Bible Camp Road was. They hit that thing with the maintainer about 2 or 3 times a week every time it rained, and now it's good. So they kept that shaped up, and the silts leave before the rock does. So all that black dirt that got mixed into that windrow will go away if you stay on it, but you're gonna have to stay on it. If you put some more rock in there, it's gonna help it, but you're still gonna have to push that stuff across the road and deal with it. That's just the way it is.
But it's not the dirt that sticks to your vehicles.
Oh, yeah, really?
No, not
It is
serious.
too.
No, it isn't.
Yes,
I'll
it
show
is.
it to you. I have samples of it. It's not black dirt. I'm serious.
That's
It's
what's in
not.
that windrow.
It came from the Teslov pit.
No, it
You-
didn't.
Where
It
did that, where
did
did
not
that,
come from the Retzloff pit.
well, I was told it was the last meeting. Where did it
The
come from?
gravel did. There's clumps of mud in that windrow this big. That didn't come from the pit, I'm here to tell you.
Okay, but I'm saying over the whole thing. You're saying there's just clumps of mud from the ditches or from tractors? Is that what you're saying?
No.
From the edge of the road.
I'm not here to say where anything came from or anything.
I don't care. I think it's gotta be spread out and worked so that the rain can wash that stuff out of that gravel.
So that's what the rain has to wash it out.
Oh, I think so.
What
And
do
the
you
traffic,
think's a- What do you think's the fix for it, Tom?
Well,
Do you think what we're talking about will work?
Before we go there, I got one question.
Okay.
So, if the gravel in the pit tests differently than the gravel on the road, how did that happen?
well, it's mixed with the gravel that was on the road. Yeah. It was bound to.
Right, but what I'm saying, what I'm getting at is, if it's solely the issue that the contractor is then not, he supplied what he needed to supply, then it's just an issue of now the county fixing the problem, correct? Okay.
My question is that,
Because we test the piles and that's within spec, so somehow or another we've done something or.
Yeah, but here's the
and
spec,
figure out how to
okay.
fix it.
Spec on 3/4 inch gravel, 70 to 100% going through the 3/4. So 96% went through. So that's a lot of finer stuff that went through. Then 91% went through, 84, 78, 64, 54, 34, 33. And so they're all at the high point, and the 33 is from 12 to 45. Well, if it was 12% went through, there'd be more retained on that screen.
does it meet the spec?
Oh, it absolutely does.
Yeah, because the specs are
This is,
wide.
That's
the
right.
reason the only reason I am here today is because of a rumor that we are dumping dirt in our gravel. Well, if anyone wants to look at a picture of it, where do you think that dirt came from?
okay, yeah,
That is in your windrow.
okay.
That is not from our gravel, or
No.
it would not be in those trucks, so don't come with that stuff.
No, listen to me.
Why should I listen to you? You
Because you're a
haven't-
human being and I'm a human being, and we're not animals. That's why we listen to each other, right?
Well, I'm wondering at times.
I have not started any rumors. I haven't started a rumor saying you guys put the
But this is not from the gravel. This did not come from the
I believe you.
Retzloff pit.
Okay, I believe you, but no, my question is, where did all of the material come from that you used to put on 21? Where did it come from? What pit? You can tell me that, right?
The Retzloff pit.
Okay, the Retzloff pit.
But the gravel, here, let's just get this straight now. We didn't know at the first meeting, we had everything tested as we were supposed to have
Right.
tested. The gravel in the pit tests fine, the gravel on the road doesn't test fine.
Okay.
We assume that nobody hijacked the trucks and changed the gravel out. So the only way to get black dirt into the gravel on the road is we must have mixed it when we applied the gravel. We must have pulled the shoulders, we must have got some black dirt mix in there, or it leached up through the road bed. That's the only explanation here. And we held the contractor
Yeah.
to his obligation to determine whether or not he was
That's what most of it is.
Compliant.
liable in this thing, and it appears he isn't.
You taking,
So we now need to, okay, and now we need to go where we need to go.
He needs to go fix
Can't
it.
because it's got a sign that don't go in there.
And then we don't need to point fingers anymore, let's just excuse the parties that we know are excused and then deal with what we have to deal with.
And-
So-
It's not the
And
same
fix it.
Well,
thing.
who changed it?
You're gonna,
I am not your.
That's what we're trying to
That's
do.
what we're trying to do.
Yeah,
So
it's
my
not-
I didn't know if
all
we
of
take
that,
it
but
there
it's
and
mixed
take that
in.
stuff out there
Think
and blade it across
about
and
it.
yours
Thinking
gets
about
all
it.
greasy
Think
again.
about it.
Laid it
Thinking
in the
about
ditch.
it. I've written on
Just
the
regravel the road again, widen the road out a
You
little.
darn right I did.
No, drive.
I don't wanna do
Look at
that.
window.
I was there again
What's your
last night.
suggestion from
Did you
somebody?
see this, what I saw? That's there.
I don't know.
What do you think we
It's-
should
What do you
do?
think,
It
Wayne?
didn't come from the red swamp
Oh,
pit,
where did
it's
it come
chem stuff that came from your road.
I think we could take and try a mile of it and add in some other gravel and try that. I don't know, and if it
Right?
doesn't
That
work, then
came
we
from
just
Fred's
take and
pit.
Blade it off.
blade it off in the ditch, I guess,
That was
or.
put on there. That is
Why are we
definitely-
going back to the cranberry?
Because
I-
that's what's underneath it.
I think if, I mean, I don't know, I shouldn't say.
But I thought you
It seems
wanted
to
your
me
old
that
road
if we
top back.
Because
kept
you don't want
after
this
it,
crap.
it would
Oh,
straighten
Nathan.
out.
Tom, you don't get it.
No, I
If we
don't.
had one more blade, we could
And a bobcat.
How many hours a week are you averaging on the three you have?
do. But the guys are really trying to.
That close, it's been a bobcat.
Now, when you guys,
We need more aggregate in
Yeah.
that
Need
material.
more aggregate.
Yeah,
And
that's
some
what-
sand, yeah.
That's what
Okay.
we
can I just say one more thing here,
Find
just
it.
for- between Tom and I, so you guys understand we're gonna still be friends here.
Find the gravel at the most aggregate. I mean, if you had a screen, you could screen off that fine stuff and just use the coarser gravel and the rock. But that gets to be expensive to do that too.
Here's my
So-
question about this whole thing. There seems to be, Tom has shown me a picture, there's clumps of dirt in what he saw in the window. What I see along the window, I have not seen those clumps of dirt, but I have pictures along the way where it's consistently too much, not enough aggregate, all right? Now, when they bladed it off and made the windrow, they went down pretty deep, and they didn't go into the ditch, but they pushed up. If you remember from history, what was there put down before was, we called a Tranby pile, and Tom mined that, and they put that on the road, and that was awful. And that, if that got mixed in there, we know why it's bad, because that was crap, and we finally got rid of that, and then we was replaced with what came from the Retzloff pile. And you put two and two together on the windrow, it's not good. Now, if you're gonna put in some rocks and you're gonna hope it's gonna work, that's good, but I wanna just make one case. Spurgeon Township did a spot graveling from the Mueller pit. They put it right by our White Bridge. You can just see the difference, rocks, aggregate, and sand, very little. Our Commissioner Troy, he goes and gets good quality gravel for his driveway. And I'm sure he pays the price, but it's one and done. And I would submit to you, can we do it one and done? I know you don't like to.
Most
put
of
that
my gravel
product.
comes from,
Pardon?
most of my gravels come from Hedstrom's. but
Okay, headstrom's, whatever, but.
That's what he's talking about, going and getting
Okay.
some Hedstrom gravel.
Good.
Mixing
But
it in
when
there.
you're gonna mix it,
Yep.
you're gonna dilute that Hedstrom good gravel. You're gonna
Yep.
dilute it with crap. That's my point,
There's gonna be some fines on that road and it's gonna be a little bit sloppy for a while.
for a while.
Yep.
Okay, well, can you go back to what we said earlier? Can we do a
That- it
mile of
happens-
it? Just try a mile or half a mile before you put it all in there and say, now it's gonna be done?
Yeah, I'm done.
Yeah,
Wayne, you go fix it and see what you can do.
but try it, don't do the whole thing. Make sure it's good. Then we'll be all.
Anything else?
I'm done.
You're done? Thank you, Wayne. Next thing on the agenda is tax equalization, and David called out to the state today and we can't reopen that meeting, so we're done with that. So we're gonna have to deal with it next year. You called him too?
Yeah,
Okay.
and we talked about the ag land thing that we forgot to do.
We didn't forget to do it. No.
Yeah, and she said if we just request the 3% or whatever, what was it?
I don't
What
remember.
was
I
the
didn't bring
percent
that
that-
with me.
Write her a letter and stating that it was an honest mistake, that she'll probably,
There was one other year, Mark, that we didn't raise them, 2013 or 14, and they didn't raise them to 93, they just raised
Okay.
them to 90.
okay.
But if you guys want to write, David to write a letter or somebody to write a letter, what do you think?
What are we gonna do about?
The commercials are too high, they should have been
They should have
lowered,
been lowered.
but we can't do that.
I know that.
But can we request also that our commercials were too high and request that they were be lowered?
Well, they won't lower them.
Oh.
We're above the threshold, they're happy.
No.
They want this thing to go this way. They're not mad at us for that.
How did it come about that we weren't advised of this and didn't take action? I mean,
Numbers from the sales ratio were in the first commission.
I see in the,
2017.
I see in the Sentinel Courier that there was a big to-do about possibly costing the citizens of Griggs County 0.5%. The ag land, 3% of the ag land is about 10 times what that figure is.
You don't want me to keep signing this stuff, do you? I already did that, didn't I?
No, no, you're good, just the bills. Yep. Thank you.
What are your wishes? Letter?
Yeah, if,
I think last
I
time we
went.
voted
some copies.
not to raise it, and then they did it on their own up to the threshold. So
Can I go with you
we just
for a
need a
minute?
couple, they'll do it on their own, won't they?
I think that's right.
They can go up to 93,
Yeah.
but they didn't do it last time, Dale.
I-
What
I
did they
remember-
say, what did they tell you?
Yeah, it's one of our first go arounds, I remember we.
Yeah, what Linda said was, yeah, that if it was common practice of the county board to raise it to 90%, that would be her recommendation to the state board.
So do we need to write a letter, or was she gonna?
I'd say it'd probably be a good idea to have a letter from the five commissioners and submit it there. Just for Linda's sake too, when she would say that to the state board. But that would likely be her recommendation, that would be at 90%.
Okay,
And how about the
commercial?
Commercial.
I don't think there'd be any action.
We can request. Because there again, that would be a common practice for us to be at 90%, is that what we have been?
Yeah, if we would have been
We
advised
tried
of
to.
it,
Yeah,
we would have lowered it to 90%.
so let's request that. Have that in a letter. I'll make that motion. So we ask for, would David or do you want, or do we want, Jamie to write this up? Make a motion that we ask Jamie to write a
Or
letter.
I can do it, doesn't matter, but.
Do you think you can do it, Elaine? Requesting that,
The ag lands be brought up to 90 and the commercial property be brought down to 90.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
it's been moved by Mark that we write a letter to the state tax department and request that the ag land be brought up to 90% of the state threshold for Griggs County and that the commercial property be brought down to 90%. Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second that.
I probably would include in that letter that it was not acted upon by the equalization, the Board of Equalization. That's why we're requesting it. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. John?
Aye.
Dale?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Sean?
Aye.
Troy votes aye. Motion carries. Okay, budget?
So you guys got a budget in front of you that has all the requests in it. From what I sent you last night to what is in here right now, last night I did move all those numbers over to the final allowance, just so you guys would see that levy comparison page all filled out as if this was completed. But I've since got rid of that, so now that levy comparison page is not there, and then we can just go on
Right.
and you guys can move those numbers over as you guys
Because
see
we
fit.
want to start with the individual budgets anyway, don't we?
As however you would like to do it. However you would like to start.
So the starting point would be to agree on a cost of living increase. That would be the starting point.
And within your packet, you on page 15 and 16,
Right.
that's your information, Troy. on
So, I'll start this discussion, I guess. What was the cost of living increase last year?
that we approved,
What did we apply?
1.58.
Right. So, we've been using the Social Security COLA, and I believe, this is just my opinion, that it is a more common practice in the world to use the information from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, Consumer Price Index for, it's on page
15 and 16.
So, first of all, we can talk about that. Where do you find the COLA for the one we've been using?
I just run the Social Security. And, you know, they always make projections for the economy. Is where that was always at.
So what I'm accustomed to using is this Consumer Price Index for urban wage earners and clerical workers, the CBIW, on the bottom of page 15 and the top of page 16. And of course, page 16 gets you to the right time frame. So in here it says in the last 12 months the cost of living increase has been 1.9. Last
Where do you
year,
see the yearly average getting? 1.9?
well, this is looking back 12 months. So
Oh.
if you look at April, it's looking back to last April.
Oh, I see.
You know, so it's March through April, or May through April.
All right.
If you want to do it on a 12-month basis, you'd look at December and we give you that December numbers at 1.8. This, and no, I'm not saying one's right or wrong. This is what we used to use at Cheyenne Valley all the time when I was a manager there. And it seemed like it was a fair way to do it. I don't know.
What did we use for a COLA number last year?
1.58.
1.58, and as it turned out, because of course we were doing it halfway through the season, through the year, the Social Security COLA turned out to be 2.8.
Mm-hmm. And that's the problem that we've had with that cut, or the Social Security, is it doesn't come out when we're doing the budget, and so then we usually fall short of that, and then the Social Security is actually higher than what we got, and then we have never went back and made up for that.
I mean,
so-
the one way to do that would be to take the projection for 2020, add the shortfall for 2019, and go forward with that way. You know, that would be one way to make up for that shortfall. Not saying that's the right way to do it. As we all know, there's no steadfast rule for any increase. We were just trying to determine something that was
Consistent.
and so I agree that it won't always be, if you have real decreased economy in the last half, it could actually go the other way too.
Absolutely, yep.
That's not gonna help a lot for this year because they're predicting a 0% rise in 2020 for the Social Security COLA.
Oh, I found 2.6.
So does someone have like the average of the last 5 years, if it's, we've given 0.5 or 0.005 or 3 or?
Well, I did the math on it. If I can share. Because I looked at the three scenarios on math on what, looking back at the last 5 years of the commission wanting to go based on Social Security, and going back for the last 5 years, Social Security has changed 5.61%, and the commission's raised things by 1.6% collectively in the last 5 years. If you wanted to go to the consumer price index, if you went on December's base budgets based on percent changes from December on those numbers, the last 5 years, that's changed 6.5%, 6.55%. And the previous county's change has been 1.6%. Or if you did it based on April of the current year and what percentage changes those 5 years, the percent change has been 6.84%, and the county adjustment has been 1.6%. I think we as department heads, last year, the practice of the commission was to base things based on Social Security.
You know what, we as a county commission like to see stuff in this packet, so you're not reading to us in the meeting, because I don't know what you're talking about. I want it before the meeting.
Okay. This is information based on what information the commission had for these percent changes on the CPIW.
Either way that whatever way that the commission would like to go, there was a motion to use the Social Security cost of living increase and get it into the employee manual. So if we do switch it, we will need another motion to get that fixed
Right.
as well.
So where is it? I want to see something.
What's that?
In the employee manual?
No, where's the Social Security one so we can compare them? It's not in my packet.
No,
You know, this irritates me.
I'm sorry. I never put that into your guys' packet, so I didn't know that that's what you.
I know, but then we're trying to rely on our memory to what we did last year. I can't. I don't have enough memory for that.
Okay.
Memory is full.
Can't remember what I had for lunch.
Absolutely.
So this is right off the SSA site, and of course, this isn't in your packet.
Yep.
2019, 2.8, 2020, 2.6, 2021, 2.6, they're projection forward. So if 1.8 is what it is here, so you'd add on the 3 points and you add a 2.6, you get 2.9.
And that's what's in the policy right now, if that's what you wanna do, that's.
Well, I don't know, I mean, again, I didn't put this in the packet, and I agree, it drives me insane when we're given figures cold without any way to dispute them or verify them. But I do take the point that if we're truly trying to match the Social Security COLA, we're not being very effective, but on the other side of it, it was only an estimate anyway. And from my perspective, from the people that I am elected by, the majority of those people are going to be affected by the Social Security COLA, and to have, and a lot of those people have 1/4 land, 2/4 land, and a house, and to have them look and say, well, now I'm paying for a raise in someone else's salary that I'm not getting myself is kind of irksome, I would think.
And that's fine, we can use that. It's just another barometer. And I mean, they're not disconnected from one another. It's just that I'm just worried that once in a while that Social Security one gets to be a political football. And Bureau of Labor Statistics should be kind of disconnected from that process. But right now, it looks like the COLA prediction is higher than the CPIW.
So if we were at 1.5 last year, and it was actually 1.9, so we're lacking by 0.4, and 2.6 is the average, so it could actually be 3%.
Right.
But that could get changed around now. Next year, it could be, it could have been too high and it was only 1.8, as long as you realize that. We're just looking for some kind of stability.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And that's what we want to. We just want something that's consistent, one that we can, we basically know what's.
Could we base it off the previous years, what the
Final
going forward? Because we don't, because it's a moving target for what 2019 is. If we look at what 2018 was and say that's
what he just did.
You just did.
Yeah.
We okay, so we're taking the difference between what we thought 19 was going to be and what 19 actually was, and adding that difference or subtracting in possible cases to the prediction for 2020. So that will always give us a running average.
And that's 2.6.
2.6 the way it looks, yeah.
So we increase everybody's salary by 3%.
3%. If that's the formula you want to use. I mean,
I'm happy with that if that's the way we want to do it. I mean, and I think that's fair. I don't know.
So is that only 2019 that would get fixed, or are you gonna go back to previous years that were shorted also?
Oh, 2000 shorted.
We were.
2019 is not even getting fixed. 2020 is going to be the 3%.
But the adjustment in county salaries based on Social Security changes, Social Security has changed.
We're not going to negotiate 2017's wages here today, I don't think.
That's what my question was, if, each year since we didn't have the full number, if you're going back to, I think 2017 was when the motion was made to use that, if you're gonna.
Oh.
That's what we did, in our budgets, we made up for those because they were incorrect numbers. So that's how we started.
We did up and down. There was a year that we got more than what it came back in, so then we did decrease that as well. So we tried to.
And we can give you a copy of that too.
It was never intended to be an absolute. It was intended to be a trend. But so next year, for 2020, the COLA for Social Security says 2.6. would actually be raising that over the 2.6. So in theory, yes, you are making up for a prior year.
1 year.
1 year, yeah.
That's what they're asking, if we're gonna go back to when we started using that number.
Mhm.
And then it would be what number? 5.7 or something? 6.9?
I think it was 4.1.
4.01.
Oh,
It was never a hard and fast policy.
Oh, I know. I mean, it just, see you, Nancy.
I know.
Thank you.
Not a monster deal, but somebody needs to make a motion.
What kind of monetary effect would that have on the budget? If you said the 5 points or whatever, have you ever looked at that? To get us straight, if that's what you're talking about? Or if we leave it at 3,
I didn't do any.
2%, I guess? Is that what it is?
What's in the budget is that.
No,
No, it's
What you
it's far
propose?
more than that.
And then we have another thing that we're gonna have
It
to
would
discuss
cost
with you
you-
guys and
I
just.
mean, it's far more than that 5%. I was just looking at, I think we have one.
if you raised all the salaries 4%, it would also raise the
That's right.
FICA and the
And the PERS?
PERS, and, I mean, it would be,
Oh, yes.
it would be a bigger number than
Oh, yes.
A 4% raise equals an overall gross increase of 6%.
probably right about that.
Sure.
But if we have anywhere for requested amounts here, anywhere from a low of about 0 to the common average of 10%, and one of them at 20%.
We have another thing we'd like to talk to you about once we get the cost of living increase taken care of.
I'd make a motion, we increase salaries by 2%.
Been moved by Sean that we adjust salaries for 2020 by 2% for budgetary purposes. Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second that.
Seconded by John. Is there any discussion?
Is that the figure we were working with then, as far as what the COLA is for this year?
No.
And fixing, what was the, we've talked so many.
So the predicted COLA for 2019 was 1.6 or whatever.
Yep.
And it turned out
And then
higher
adding
than
that.
that. So the predicted COLA for the Social Security increase for next year is 2.6. So if we were going to adjust the salaries to make up for that missed prediction and do what's predicted for next year, it would be 3%. If we wanted to go back to when, I mean, we've missed this before,
Yeah, yeah.
a long time ago, then it would have to go to 4%. So that's kind of where we're at right now.
How did we come up with the 2% number, I guess? We just said that's a good one?
Yep.
Okay.
He looked at the cattle futures this morning.
Yeah, or the grain market again, yeah.
You looked at, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway. Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion?
I'd like to see us closer to 3, but then.
You can
That's
move
right.
to amend the
I-
motion.
Okay. I'll move to amend the motion to the 3.
Mark has moved to amend the motion to 3%. Is there a second to that motion?
I'd second that.
Seconded by Dale. We proceed to discuss the amendment. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. John?
No.
Dale?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Sean?
No.
Troy votes aye. Amendment carries. And is there any discussion on the motion as amended? Any discussion on the motion as amended? Any further discussion?
Everybody's gonna be sick at the next meeting.
He's gonna pass it around.
Better wait, the winning vote might be not present.
Yeah.
I think I might know that. Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. John?
Aye.
Dale?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Sean?
What's this one now?
The amended motion.
Three? No.
Okay, Troy votes aye. Motion carried. The kindler, gentler whack came out of him.
Yeah.
Okay, is that, are we done with that?
But to move forward, now we need to determine what the, the other increase in salary is.
The other increase in salary
Well, do we
is,
deal with those as we get to each budget, or how do you wanna do it?
Well, I
Otherwise, we're
understand
jumping
that
around.
it's a universal, it's something that applies to everybody, correct?
yep, it will,
So
yep,
then we must deal with the ones.
yep. We would
What?
like to, come to you guys with a longevity, raise on top of that.
What's a
For,
longevity raise?
like once you've been here 5
Time
years,
and service.
Oh,
So we looked at, some of the budgets, and I know the road crew has a longevity rate increase, so we just.
but it ends at a certain point, right?
I don't know. I just know he's got one built in there.
3?
Doesn't start
30.
until 15 years and then ends at 30. So every 5 years after the 15.
So we kinda came up with a new scale.
How does that work?
$25 a month. After 15 years, you get a $25 automatic increase. After 20, you get 50. After 25, it's 75, and after 30, you get 100.
But I mean, that's all based on each year's budget also.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all based on a budget.
It's in the list.
I guess we just looked at it as, you know, Connie's been here for 30 years, she's going on. And, you know, I've only been here 12, Sam's been here 5, and us 3 make the same. I just think there should be some sort of, you know, if you like, I have a deputy who's been here 9 years, and if you start tomorrow, you make the same as her. So we just thought, you know, there needs to be some sort of incentive for your years of service that you've been here. So we just thought that this building in longevity, you know, thing is kind of a little bit different than Wayne, but kind of the same.
I didn't remember Wayne's deal. I don't know if we can encumber future commissions. Can we?
But it came to a point where we were losing valued people. So to try to keep people to stay, so if they stay for 15 years, they're gonna get 25. Otherwise, a lot of years, we didn't get much of an increase. And so, gives a little incentive, because everybody was going somewhere else where they could make more.
But I mean, that's, that's strictly,
That's called market forces.
So you've got an experienced operator, just like if you have somebody in the bank that's been there for a while, you, rather than train somebody new, or a farm on a farmer, if you've got somebody that's been there for a while, you need to train them out. Something that was established back at a time when some other departments got increase in wages, and I chose to have something that would keep people here working for Griggs County, a valued employee. And the commissioners went along with it, and in effect ever since that time. Only mistake I made was I didn't start it at 5 years and 10 years.
That's kind of what we did with our scale. We started at 5 and just a cent increase, an hourly cent increase. Like I said, it just seems a little, like I said, Connie's been here 30 years and she makes the same as 2 individuals that have been here less than half that amount of time. Like I said, my deputy, same thing. She's been here 9 years, same as somebody that walks in tomorrow. I just think there should be some level, as each year goes on, you become more knowledgeable, a more valued employee. I think there should be some break in that. And I think that would also make it easier, if their successor takes over, you can kind of get a better base of, instead of, say I leave tomorrow, the next person getting the same salary that I have, I don't necessarily agree with that.
Okay, so
Then
you
when-
you leave tomorrow, then what does your successor make?
It would then decrease all of those longevity increases that we've gotten and then go down to that base pay. So the base is still going up as the cost of living, like all those, the increases that the county makes each year, and then less the longevity.
Again, this is proposals not in the
Wait.
damn packet again.
But if we
I'm
don't
sorry, I
know
didn't-
What it is.
we
I'm
don't
sorry, I
have the
didn't
ability to
realize that
budget
that's.
on a yearly basis. We don't have the ability to put policy in place for future commissions.
Right.
So it can't be a policy because we could make it a policy, but we couldn't force them to fund it.
Can you adopt it just for this year then, and then you adopt it on a year by year?
We don't know what we're adopting. We don't know. You haven't seen it.
I'm sorry, Troy, I didn't
So
know
no,
that
we
was.
can't.
We can certainly get something drawn up with all this stuff for the next meeting, for you guys to review, just to see, like I said, hard facts of what we did, the numbers.
Well, I think the increase on a yearly basis based on cost of living is, I don't look at government as competing with private business, and because, again, we're elected officials, so you can't control your longevity. That's up to the people to control that. And the salary increases, I don't know, maybe these citizens want to pay more for somebody that's been here longer, maybe they won't, but I don't know how to make that decision.
Right. But the fact of the matter is, right at this point in time, there's been a motion made, seconded, and passed that we adjust the salaries by 3%.
That's correct.
So it's kind of done.
That was for the cost of living increase. This is a different increase on top of that. It's kind of how we were looking at it all. Sorry.
It's not a two-part process, so I don't think.
Well, I don't agree. I think we're getting mixed up in the fact that we were just on a year-to-year basis looking for some way to increase salaries that was uniform across
Based
the
on
employee
inflation.
group. And somehow now it's morphed into a mandatory, have to be exactly this number, here's what has to happen. And I don't think it was ever intended to be that. I think it was always intended to be a guideline. And I don't think it was ever, I mean, in my estimation, it wasn't, but.
Well, that was a motion made and passed
Yeah.
years ago, John,
Yep.
to use that.
Yep.
I mean, we can change that guideline, but that's kind of the guideline right now.
Mhm.
So,
Your guys' businesses, do you have any sort of longevity for your own employees? No?
no, I haven't had a raise for 5 or 6 years, I don't know. But never asked for one, I guess, I don't know.
But we do have one department that does allow that, so.
We can take care of that too.
Well,
I don't know if we've ever, I guess,
I don't remember it happening, but it,
It's still based on, it's still based on the budgetary number.
right.
And you know, that's not something that affects everybody every year. I mean, it affects one person every 5 years, I think is the way
Right.
we looked at it.
Do we wanna see any more information on that, or do we just move on? What are your wishes?
Well, somebody needs to make a motion. If nobody does, let's move on. I mean,
Do we have are we, at this meeting, is this the only employee committee we have, or is there an employee committee? Is this something we would like to look at possibly for next year, or not, or to form a longevity, if that's something we wish to do or not? Or is this meeting the only meeting we have with the employees of this?
the department heads?
Yeah,
Well, we're
do
not
we-
gonna finish the budget today, Mark.
No, but I mean, is there 2 people that we supply for all of, just like in our portfolios? Do we have the sheriff's department and that sort of thing? Do we have a policy committee? What do you call that?
I don't think
2
we have a
people in
policy
charge of
committee.
policy?
Actually, there's 5.
Yeah, at this thing.
Right.
That's what we're doing
No,
here.
that was policy too.
So, the way we've always done, in order to move forward, because we need to settle the big items first, right?
Yeah.
Before we can go to the
Sure.
individual budget. So Sam needs to know what she plugs in for the salary increases. Then at the next meeting, she'll bring us, or we, right now, we'll look at everything other than the salaries within as many budgets as we
Mhm.
can, and then she'll take it from there, because it's not, she works in increments.
Mhm.
Yeah, so we need to get rid of the biggest ones first, so that she can carry through with all that, rather than having each time trying to figure out, well,
Sure.
now I'm doing the auditors, now I'm doing the treasurers, where she can carry it all the way through. So that's what we're trying to determine now.
At the next meeting, I think Connie and Kelly have it written out, can we present that? Have that in the commission packet, because all you're looking at is the gross salaries right now.
That'd be up to I'm not in favor of it, but there's 4 of us, 5 of us.
Also, with you guys wanting to see different things, I've always just plugged everybody's budget into the budget, and then, you know, I've received back. Do you guys want to see those written ones and any extra documentation that they've attached with those? Or is this what you're wanting to see?
No, this is what's prescribed by the Century Code.
Mhm.
The auditor prepares the budget for review of the county commission, and that's what the final allowance line is all about.
And so sometimes I've gotten other information with these budgets. Are you guys in favor of seeing all of that? Or do you?
What kind of information, get it?
Trying to justify the expense.
Some of those kind of things. Otherwise, like the library will give me a totally different sheet kind of explaining different things, or the fair board and those kind of entities, they give me a different kind of budget sheet.
Right.
I don't know, like if you look at your budget, I mean, I think it's the fair board is like really large, but they know that they're not gonna get 77,000. They're gonna get Yeah, see they've requested 77, but they only get, a quarter of a mil. So then it's, do you guys want to see those kind of things, or are you guys okay with just,
It has to be standardized, so if we have a standardized form, the reason it is that is so that everybody is looked at equally.
yep,
And the Connie's here, Wes is here.
Yep.
So that if there's changes, I think we can,
and if you
if
guys
it's
have
an
questions
individual
on.
thing.
Yep,
Now, if you're gonna put something in place like this longevity deal, I wanna know more details.
Yeah.
okay.
That's just me.
We'll make sure that we get all that into the packet.
To me, that's not. That's a overall county policy change that will affect this. So we need to know what the effect will be. But that can be implemented anytime.
Yeah, but I need to visit with him.
So you wanna see that before this budget?
And are you trying to kick me out, or? You have 1 minute.
No,
Well, I'm not in favor of doing it, so I don't know if it makes any sense.
neither am I.
So that's 3 of us, so I guess we don't need anything.
Another big thing that is being requested within the budget is the full family insurance. We did bring it up at the last year's budget, but we brought it up a little too late for you guys not to have enough time to think about it. So we did bring it back. Social Services is receiving it. I know that they are a district now, but to us it's kind of unfair that somebody down the hall is receiving that, and we just would ask that the county offer that as a benefit, and then if you don't use it, it's it wouldn't be in you get that money. If you don't use it, it would just be get it or not. So that's the way that it is being requested within the budget right now.
Is that a separate line item?
It is. It is on page.
Oh, so it goes from 81 to 130,000?
That's with that increase. The health insurance is increasing starting in actually next month.
That's just the way it is right now. That's not offering full policy.
That's full family for the employees that we have right now.
What's the single policy you're going to?
If you do not accept to do the family insurance, the budget would then go to it's 133 right now. It'd be 100,367.76.
It's going up 19%. Or
15
20%.
16, wasn't
I
it?
think it was 17, 16
Well,
or
if
17.
it's 81,000 this year and it's going to 100,000, that's 25%.
It's not going up that much. Insurance didn't go up 25%. The premiums, you mean?
Yeah, well, I'm just looking at the
Yeah, no, they
sheet.
didn't.
Because I did up the thing of who the employees that we have right now for a single policy, what it, yeah. And between offering the family insurance and
B18.
it's a
Either
different-
the 81,000 is wrong and the estimated 2019 expenditures, or that's not right.
Because it's gonna go up to $733.68 for a single policy.
Times how many people?
Um, 11.
11?
And then, or 12. But Patty's 1/3.
So
Okay,
the
so it's
1/3 is if-
different because David only gets
2/3.
3/5 of
3/5.
his paid for. Christy gets 4/5 of hers paid for. And then Patty's is separated between 3 budgets, so only 1/3 would come out of general fund.
It all comes out of the taxpayers' pockets.
But you guys separated it,
The
so
reason it's 25% is because you're going from a single policy to a family plus the 16 or 17% increase of the
that's what
insurance.
I'm requesting, as if you guys did request or did approve to have a family policy paid for.
I think his question was what would be the increase with just single fund, was just
This
single?
is single policy, yeah. I don't know the percentage, but I know the amount. I can get you the amount. So right now a single.
$94,374 at 16%.
Right now, we pay $638.38 for a single policy, and then it's going up to $733.68 next month.
How many FTEs?
Nine full-time employees.
And then some part-time employees that get 3/5 and whatever.
Yep.
So how many full-time equivalents is that, or what? You know, because the people that aren't getting their full premium paid are paying part of it themselves.
Correct. Yep.
So how many people? How many full-times? What'd you say? 9?
9. Yep.
And then who's taking partial?
David, which is 3/5. Christy, which is 4/5. And Patty, which is 1/3 of it.
So. $10 and 2/5. What's that?
10.4.
Yeah, that's 10.4 plus 1/3, so 10.73. Oh, shit. My reverse Polish got me. $94,468 is if no change is made from the
It's just with
just a single policy, the
16 or
the county's
17%
expense is gonna
increase.
go to 94,468 64. Okay, so that'll be something to consider.
So what do we do with the people that are single?
Same thing as me. We get a single at the bank and I don't take it because my wife's gets a family out of her work, so I don't, it's use it or lose it, just like any other benefit.
Yeah, it's a benefit, not a, yep.
So the 16% increase in the single policy, is that no one classifies that as a raise?
No, John.
Still gotta be paid for it, doesn't it? Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, that's an age-old
Yeah.
frustration, if you want to call it that. How come there's no number in job service and WSI?
Those got erased once you erase the final appropriations column. That's how the formula is presented in there.
Oh, but you can assume they're gonna be back.
Absolutely.
You can assume, yeah.
It would be like they were last night.
And so now you can assume the overall benefits are gonna be about, now it's getting up in that 58%.
So,
Salary.
new courthouse, is that the same way? There's nothing in there?
Courthouse, what page are you on? Sorry.
18. Doesn't look like there's an empty formula there. B, 18, yeah.
Nope, there's not a formula in there. I think I was gonna look into that number.
Is that something Brian comes up with or something?
Nope, that would be insurance. I think.
Oh, that's the insurance.
Yeah, I needed to check into that. Get that info. Cause I don't think any of these were supposed to, I didn't get any information that any of these were gonna go up, so,
Okay.
or down, for that matter. But I'll look, make sure of those.
Yeah. I mean, in order so we don't hopscotch all over, we need to determine big variables. Now we have another variable with this group health insurance, and then we need to go through and determine the individual budgets. And that would get us a long way down the road. But we can't determine the individual budgets. We've determined the salary now. So we have to determine the healthcare because we're gonna make a determination on the overall benefits. And we can't get that number until we get this one. So the only way to do this is to vote on it. So we need a motion.
What are your wishes, gentlemen?
Well, I'll make the motion so we can vote on it. I'll make a motion, we leave it exactly as it was last year, single policy for each employee.
Second.
Moved by John, seconded by Sean, to leave the health insurance policy in place as is for 2020. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. John?
Aye.
Dale?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Sean?
Aye.
Troy votes aye. Motion, I don't even know if we need to roll call vote on these individual issues, cause we're gonna vote on it at the end of the day, but
Well,
I guess it
can be.
doesn't hurt anything.
No, but no, it can. It probably does. It has to do with money. That's,
But it's not the final.
that's right.
Okay. What else can we look at today?
Well, now you could start on the individual budgets, right, Sal, in the general fund?
If you would like to, we can do it that way, otherwise we
Because that would
can.
get you the more farthest down the road.
Okay. Skip
I
that.
didn't ask any, I just had the department heads here for the salaries and those kind of things sake, so I didn't ask anybody else to be here for this.
Right.
I didn't think we were gonna get this far, but yeah, absolutely, let's,
So no other changes in yours? Auditor,
in mine, no,
I mean your ancillary budget,
no.
treasurer,
This one.
did I? Oh, clerk of court, I'm sorry.
It's county commissioners, did you guys want to request anything? Have anything in for request?
Do we have flavored water next year?
Maybe so.
Kelly says no.
Not I'll agree with you, according to this budget, it's no.
You might have to bring your own.
Okay,
District Court got moved to its special fund
Oh,
last
that's
year,
right.
so that'll be discussed a little bit down the road.
so I didn't skip one.
You didn't,
Nope.
you just skipped
This
your
guy
own.
did the one.
Auditors.
Treasurer.
So that was,
It's
Trish?
9.
No, I had a question, the auditor.
Yes.
So the office supplies in 18, you used 157. How much should we use for office supplies in 19?
Well, estimated $1,000.
usually it's because we have, a commissioner book or the checks that need to be bought.
Okay.
But we didn't have any of that, so, but right now, office supplies, I've used $87.
Okay. And-
But I think we're getting close to meeting checks, and then the checks last us. I think it was becoming every other year was checks or a commissioner book,
Okay.
and then it was going that way. But yeah,
Okay. And being this is the general fund, we don't carry monies over anyways, so what didn't get used goes back to the treasury.
absolutely.
Okay.
Treasures.
Connie doesn't have anything.
Nothing changed in my,
The only thing I would see, Connie, maybe you should increase your supplies and materials. It looks like in 18 you used $1,800 worth. And I think it was running short this time too, wasn't it?
Treasure supplies.
I
Yep.
believe it was.
I think we're over $281.
Right,
Okay.
so maybe that should get bumped to $1,800. You're over 200 already?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Over
It's
281.
only June.
yeah, but maybe it should get bumped to 2,000. What's coming up? Or what does that get used for?
was it 200, or part of the money was the new copy, or new printer for
Yeah.
my deputy, excuse me,
Oh, it was an addition,
yeah.
so you won't have to do that for a long time, I suppose.
But it doesn't hurt to bump it, cause I don't know, the printer I have right now has been using a lot of toner, so I'm not sure how much longer that'll last.
I think we should bump that to the 18 that was used in 2018.
Okay.
Continue on.
I'm just looking at Jamie's, but it didn't change, so.
Yeah, state's attorneys. Good there. Recorders. Nothing changed there. And then tax directors. Few changes in there.
That's likely higher than it would be. What I'm proposing is to, right now I'm kind of having to work from pen and paper and Excel spreadsheets. The city has assessment software, and I've reached out to them if they'd be willing to go back to the old arrangement of splitting the renewal fee for assessment software. So very likely it would be They haven't formally approved that yet, but I sent a letter and delivered it to Nancy. And they'd probably, they said very likely they'd split the cost. So the cost of the county for just software approaching would come out to about $2,800.
What's the name of the software?
Vanguard.
That's kind of
Is that the one we got rid of before?
That's
Correct.
What's the GIS for?
Global Information Systems, global geo. Yeah.
What's it for? Primarily that's used to monitor soils and your parcel data. So for example, right now if there's a deed that comes through and there's a soil split, say you have 160 acres and it gets split into 80 acres. We have right now on Dakota programs, we have the soils and how many acres are on there, but say if you're dividing a parcel in half, those soils, you can't just divide everything in half. The soils are in different parts of the parcel, so I mean, to be fair to the buyer and seller, you need to make sure that the soils are attributed appropriately to each parcel, and so everyone has the correct value based on the soils.
You're not involved in the buyer or the seller.
No, but for trying to maintain an accurate, you can't change what say on 160 acres, you're not changing what the value is, but each property, the owner of the 80 acre parcel needs to have an accurate value. Both sides need to have an accurate value, so that's.
I have been asked for our GIS information for our plat books as well. They do like it when we submit
I've had
them.
3 requests in the last several weeks for the county information on GIS. I think it was last done in 2012. And for these requests, when I say our most recent date is 2012, and they don't accept that.
The people requesting information are the people that are printing the plat books.
Mm. Well, that's just one person that's
Yeah,
requesting
I mean,
it.
that's who wants the information, so they can have the information, so they can print the black books and sell them for a profit. I was against the software before, and I'm against it now, and I'm certainly against the GIS portion of this. Anything that makes it easier to tax the people, I'm against.
I guess I come with this, we avoid issues of, and the GIS might be too much for this year. That's not something I'm hard and fast on, but I think we avoid issues of inconsistency, and I think having software you're able to equalize appropriately. Because right now I had to try and build things from Excel, and that's difficult to do. I know it's I know with the software, yes, you could change things with the click of a button, and that's something to be cautioned against.
That's what it's for.
But I think with proper oversight, with essentially the software would cost about 50 cents a parcel to the taxpayer, and I think we get 50 cents per parcel value out of it. It's something that's common in many other counties around the state.
I think we got rid of this software for a reason.
We did.
I mean, it was here at one time.
Well, apparently we weren't using it anyway, were we?
No. No. Well.
So
What would I say? Like
I say no.
John, what I'd say that the previous tax director might not have used it or not known how to use it. But I'll tell you, like this is a tool of the job. I don't think it's a luxury. I see it as fairly necessary to carry out my duties. I'm not trying to overburden the taxpayer on it. I think, trying to ensure consistency. I mean, say this year the elevator that we, just for keeping proper property cards, got overlooked for 3 years because we didn't have any property data on the parcel. We couldn't see that there were structures on there that didn't have any value. It's just trying to keep a consistent standard. And I think this.
Right now you're using Excel.
Yeah, Excel and
But once you get everything built in Excel, won't that do the same thing?
Sean, county doesn't assess.
True.
Okay, so custodian.
So what do we do here?
Me? I already
What did we do
crossed it
here
out.
on the tax?
How would you
collector?
like me to proceed
So
with
she
that?
can move it out.
Do you wanna vote on it?
Well, I think we better.
Okay,
I mean, that's the only way, so she can move, she needs to be able to move these to the final allowance.
okay.
So we need a motion.
If we're gonna keep them both, you can do it with one motion. If we're gonna get rid of them both, you can do it with one motion. If you're gonna keep one and not the other, you need two motions.
Mhm.
I'll move on with the deletion of the software and the GIS.
Been moved by Sean that we do not purchase GIS or assessment software for 2020. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by John. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. John?
Aye.
Dale? Mark?
Aye.
Sean? Troy votes aye. Motion carries. Is the custodian hours gonna go down, or how come they're?
No, I don't know why they did that. I'm not sure.
I believe because they no longer have the burden of the old courthouse. Because it went up, because they were gonna have to.
We had a
take care of
partial
both of
year
them.
with it, right?
Right, yep,
So am I supposed to be doing this like increase with
yeah,
this one? Right?
right. Well, I mean, they get an increase like everybody,
Mhm.
right?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I believe that's what I believe that was a policy.
Okay. General?
If you go through this,
We're not gonna buy any telephone service in 2020?
I needed to talk to Travis about that because we went over to Nuso was Sotel, and so it's a new system and it's supposed to be cheaper. So I need to talk to Travis about that to see if it's going to stay that about the same or if it's going to go down.
Okay, so it's a question mark.
Where did we put, last year, didn't we have the $20,000 for the sheriff's new vehicle in here?
That's the next page.
Okay,
Yeah.
and we have it again?
We don't. It's within
Okay.
it's within the sheriff's. And so I did have a question on that.
Well, you can go ahead and this, I just, for
Yeah.
the rest of this time.
Well, that's one of my questions is our policy, how we've done budgets in the past has always been I've put that we're going to spend 100% of the budget so that then we can budget for that. But we know we're not going to spend that 20,000 and we need that in this year or next year's budget for that 40 if you guys are going to do that. So to make it so that we're not doubling that 20,000, I would like to take that 20,000 out because then it's budgeted as 40,000 within the sheriff's budget. Cause we were gonna do 20,000 this year, 20,000 next year.
And weren't we gonna order the car for delivery in 2020, pay 20,000 in 2019 and pay the balance when it comes in?
Oh, that's the way you wanted
I
to do
think
it.
so, yeah.
Okay. I thought it wasn't like we weren't supposed to pay anything out of this one.
No,
And then it was-
that way we have 20,000 in each budget and it will get.
Cause I don't think it was that high of a number, what was it, Wes?
For the car?
Yeah,
Uh,
I thought it was like,
VW, it went up just a little bit, 29 something.
That
Yeah,
was like
so-
27 or something, wasn't it, last year?
Okay,
That
so
was all-
we'll
all
pay
switch
some out of
over
this budget and then,
stuff, too.
then that,
We'll
Just this-
deplete 19 completely down.
so do you get rid of one, Wes, or what are you gonna do?
What's that?
You gonna get rid of one, or what are you gonna do?
Yeah, the Dodge, the 07 Dodge pickup.
The gray one.
Yeah.
That one gets traded, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
okay.
That's the one with the new motor in it.
Maybe we can swap that out.
It was kind of a special thing.
No, mine got a new motor in it.
Oh, the red one did?
Yeah, when Bob gave it to me, it was ticking. And then I drove it one time and the light started flashing.
Oh, I'm just thinking of the time that one dumped its water down Highway
that
one.
That
was
was the
when
little,
Jerry
that
had it.
was the
Yeah, right.
SUV, right?
No, that was that
No,
great.
Jerry had
Oh.
it and he lost the rear end in it and the engine because he didn't, there's no water in it.
Oh, that's right.
Cause it was like really expensive engine. It was some off-breed thing.
So we're on general expenses?
Yeah, you are.
And the telephone.
Last year, what you guys did with that reserve is you just left it until the end, and then that was what I fluctuated, the
Oh,
levy
sure.
amount, so that we don't,
That's correct.
so, we'll just leave that one blank, but I'll transfer everything
It'll
else over.
just float.
How did you come with the 314,048 when we had 360 last year?
I'm not really sure. There's been a lot of numbers. I'm gonna be completely honest with you.
All right. So then we need to put the patrol vehicle back in here at 20,000.
It's in the sheriff's side.
But it's probably coming out of there.
You want it out of this one?
I don't know, I mean.
I have it in here for, you're gonna spend it out of this year's budget, and then you want to add 20,000 in there for next year?
Well, I don't know, that was the question, that's how we had it set up.
I think so. Cause apparently we're not gonna spend it all.
We're not gonna spend it all, but this way we'll just completely spend 2019, clear
Right.
that out.
And we'll have a
And
portion
20 will
left.
be the portion of 20, and then there'll be a remaining balance there, so.
Yeah.
Same thing, you could carry, then in 21, you could carry over whatever is left in 20 forward, and if the 20,000 in the following year plus the balance from 20 gets them another new vehicle, you go
That-
forward.
I think that balance is supposed to also be used to buy the lights, and I don't think
Right.
we need to buy the lights because we have an extra light bar that we can
Oh.
put onto it.
Right.
But
Well, you'll have to transfer radios and,
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Yeah,
gonna,
it will.
it costs money to set them things up.
You're
right.
But you see what I
All
mean,
the
you know,
decal-
that way you get to have a
decals are
full
kinda
balance going
expensive
forward.
and-
I think they'll do it. Isn't that going to be too bad?
You know, and then we'll get to a point where, you know, it won't be needed for a while.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Once the equipment gets set up, we can keep rolling the equipment over
Right.
to the next.
So I mean, maybe in 21 there isn't a new vehicle, but in 22 maybe there is, and then maybe there's not built up, so that 23 there's not. So it's, yeah. And when it comes to time where we have new vehicles with low mileages, then we can just take that 20,000 out of the budget for that year. Yeah. It's got to get in the schedule so he knows, so everybody knows where we're at here.
Right.
Okay.
I forgot about setting that up, that's probably.
What's that?
I
The setup is
forgot.
expensive.
Yep.
And that's why you can't trade all that off.
Right.
Because that's a big expense, but.
Okay. So you're gonna move that back?
Yep.
Okay.
So,
So social services, okay, that is gonna stay zero, okay.
I got one more question.
With that social services stuff, I didn't get a whole lot of feedback from Mary. She's doesn't know what's all going on either, so I didn't get a budget from Mary.
No, I don't know that, it's a district budget now, and it's gonna
Yeah.
be funded 100% by the state other than the indigent burial, so.
So the burial
That's-
needs to
that's
stay in
here,
here, and
For now,
I wasn't sure about that social services job service because
no,
we're not paying that right now, so I don't know if we need to be paying that because we
No.
budgeted for it.
no.
Okay. So that's that. So if you guys are good with that, we'll continue on. Social Security, those are the formulas, so those will be,
Repopulated.
yep. Get
I
that.
had one
Yes,
question
I'm sorry.
in the general. We put the $5,000 travel
Mhm.
in there, but we haven't been using that. We've been using it out of the individual budgets.
This year we are using that.
We are.
Yep,
Okay.
yep.
Okay, but we have it in individual budgets also.
No.
Oh, it was training.
I take mine on my DPF, cause I can
Okay.
use that for training.
Training, okay.
And there's not a whole lot of things I can use that for,
Mm-hmm.
so I thought it's there.
Hi, that's right, I remember that, yeah.
Oh, speaking of that, we just, in the bills today, that, recorders conference came out of software
Yeah, I
installation.
don't know what I was doing there.
Okay.
I think I copied and pasted the wrong thing.
Okay.
I had Maddie go and talk to her.
Oh, okay.
She picked, that was my error. I don't know.
I kind of thought it might have been a typo, but.
Yeah, it's a big typo.
Okay, so that was the only question I had on,
Do you want it to stay within the general fund, or do you want to put it back into the individual?
I think that's what we decided to do last year.
yep, that sounds good to me.
Okay. Social Security, again, IT, I didn't have Travis be here for this to discuss this. So if you guys want to discuss this now, we can. Otherwise, I think we should just skip this one since he's not here to tell you.
Yeah,
That's okay.
yeah, why would we need to lease fiber that we're not leasing today? No
Yeah,
idea. Okay. That's fine.
I'd like him to.
I think he tried that before though too, didn't he?
I don't remember.
Insurance. That new courthouse, again, I'll look into that and make sure all these numbers are correct. I'm pretty sure they are. That health insurance will
Oh, sure.
be different too.
Okay.
And then the job service and those are formulas, so. And we're at the sheriff's budget,
Yep.
so that 40,000 will come out.
Yep. What other equipment are you looking at, Wes?
That $10,000 would be for the new camera system. We can't use the camera system that's in the pickup. We're having problems copying or using the disc from the car to the computers. I don't know, our technology is so old, it's not working, so we're having problems gathering evidence. And I don't think that, it's an overhead console, I don't think it would fit in the Durango.
Oh,
Is that for all 3 units or just one?
Just one, and the software. So the next time we get a new camera, it will become it's the camera and the software. So the next time we get a camera, it'll only be the camera. So it's like $5,000. So it'll almost cut it in half.
I see.
But won't there be enough money in that $40,000? If it equals gonna be 29, won't there be enough to do that?
I don't think so.
So still got to set up, and like I said, we got a light bar, so we don't need to buy the light bar, but still have to set the car up, buy the cages, and then strip package.
And move the radio and.
Was it 29 with the trade or without it though?
With the trade, right? With the
No,
trade.
that was without the trade. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know the value of the
Durango
07
or
Dodge,
07.
Right. So it should be close.
depending on what that car comes back.
Yeah.
I mean, we're gonna do it.
What's that?
We're gonna do it.
Right.
We might not have to budget for it. If we have to, we can take it out of reserve. Or what?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, I don't know. It's all, you know, then we just will budget 25 for a vehicle if we were going to try to keep everything in the.
You have
in
to
the
keep it
vehicle.
all in, yeah.
Right. Well, I mean, it's fine. If we need to budget for that, which apparently we do, we can put 50 in, or 30 in, general. If that's the way you guys wanna do it, that doesn't matter, as long as we have the money when we need to do it.
It's all within the general fund anyway, so.
Right. So you get new radio then, or do you move them?
No,
or-
the radio moves over.
I didn't know if they were getting old too, or what.
No, we had a grant a few years ago, so we're set up on radios. With that, new trunking system that Wayne's working on, the siren, at some point, we will have to get new radios, but I think the state's gonna come up with something to help us out with that.
Oh,
So at some point, we will need, when we need to update our radios to run on new systems.
the whole state is gonna change?
The whole state's gonna change, yeah.
Are they going digital?
What's that?
They're going digital?
We're
Oh, they
digital
already
now,
did.
it's some trunking system that it was supposed to work better. Wayne's the one that goes to the meetings and all that, but, it's supposed to give better coverage and then work in buildings better.
Oh,
Some sheriffs are having problems with it because like down the slope, they're still not gonna get perfect coverage, but they're kinda out in the middle of nowhere.
So maybe we should move that to,
Yeah, we could just do that, move that 10 to the,
it's up to you,
to
it
the
doesn't matter.
patrol or
But
to
it-
the vehicle, and then
it
it's
better
all
be
in,
someplace.
it's all in one
yeah,
trunk.
To follow that other 20.
Right,
just put a lumber right in with it with the
Yep.
vehicle.
So 30,000.
it's all part of the patrol vehicle anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I said, that extra 10,000, that's after this first one, it'll go down to around 5.
Right.
for the
But what it'll
cameras.
do is then it'll make that money available
But
then
then
to
what
be
is
used
left over
to be
can
used somewhere
stay.
else
Mhm.
until we get up to speed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, here, it's, what isn't used is, well, it goes away.
Right.
If you lump it in there, you can carry it, the way we're doing it, split into years here. In 2020, you'd spend all that plus whatever was. Okay. I'm good.
Need a motion for that, or?
I think it's okay.
Okay.
I don't think so.
I'm okay with it if you're all right.
I guess we're gonna be motioning and finalizing
Right.
things.
Right. That's kind of cosmetic, the numbers, and the budget's not gonna change.
So the other question I have is the travel, Wes.
Yeah.
In 18, it was $800, and then, I don't know what you've used in 19, it's 3,000, and you're expecting
I
that?
think, we were so, the way our post license work is every 3 years we have to do at least 60 hours, so
Yeah.
that's where that training comes out. And we go to free training, we don't pay for training usually, we go to the free stuff, so.
Yep.
I think that might have just been a slow year. This year, we're a little bit more, and then now our third deputy, since he's brand new, he's starting his 3 years, so he'll have to start going to trainings.
Okay. And-
But, I mean, we can, the $3,000 next year, I don't know if any,
Huh?
Damon,
it's,
Oh, I'm fine with it as long as you use that
I
money
thought he
strictly
said
for training and don't dip into it
oh,
and use it.
no,
Oh, that
No,
one.
we don't-
Damon's the
Okay,
third one.
I'm fine with
Huh?
it.
Damon's the third, it's West.
Oh,
Amber, and
well, I got
Damon.
it.
Right now, he's used, 14, 16, 35.
Okay.
and I got one more training, a week-long training I have to go to because of the election stuff. I don't get it, I've already been in the training, but the post says that since you've been in this, you got elected, you have to go to this training. And I was like, can't I just use, I just did, right before I became sheriff, I went to this training,
Oh,
making me go back to it.
oh, because we appointed you, then you went to the training, and now you.
No, I went to the training before you guys
Before
appointed me.
Hmm.
And then once
They
I
won't
got
count it?
elected, what?
They won't count it?
No, because of bureaucracy has to have students.
Not because you were a slow learner?
Guess he wasn't listening.
I will admit, the first time I went there, I was a week into it, and they were talking about executions. I was like, are we talking about killing people? What are we talking about? I had no idea. They don't teach you that in the academy. So, the first time I went through it, right over there. Second time I got it.
No, unfortunately, there's bureaucracies within bureaucracies that feed on the bureaucracies, so. Yeah.
So I'm the DES. Is that where everybody else is?
Coroner is
Always
the
get
same
coroner.
as
Well,
everything
I
else, and then it's
whistled
DS.
through that, nothing there. So has anything changed with the DES now since that fellow that was kind of doing some of that stuff passed away?
Was that what happened?
Well, he was
Absolutely.
there. It was just his assistant.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was his right-hand man that passed away.
Mm-hmm.
I had a conversation with Derek a while back, but he was just worried about that thyroid report. Other than that, I haven't talked to him. He was on vacation for a while.
So
So he hired somebody else or something?
I don't think so. Lisa's been working part-time for him, and Wayne works part-time for him. Ben works over at Steele County, works part-time for him.
Oh, really? Because I used to get quite a few emails from him. I haven't heard from him for a while.
I just received one today,
Oh, did
and
you?
it's just a bill
So
for the DES.
my question is, Wes,
Mm-hmm.
could, if we transferred that $15,000 into the sheriff's department, could the sheriff's department then cover the DES responsibilities?
We don't have time for as much stuff as in there. There's a whole report, and I really don't even understand what it all is, because Bob took care of it.
Yeah, we saw that.
I will tell you that Hunt and Trail County is their DES, and he wants out of it. I've talked to the state about it, and they said that they're trying to get the sheriff's office away from it
Yeah, I
because
know,
it
I don't
is-
like it because if there's a wreck of
I'm
some
busy doing
kind,
something else.
you need to be on site, not in
Mhm.
here.
Right.
I was just thinking that if there's some slush in there and it only took $5,000 worth of actual money to do the job, the rest of it would go into the sheriff's department and be useful
Right,
for
right.
a secretary or something like
We're
that.
so busy now, we wouldn't have time.
Okay.
Would, did you say Lisa?
Yeah, Lisa.
How long has she been working for them? Or with them?
Since last year, and then when she was a captain down in Florida, she was kind of doing the hurricane relief disaster stuff at her PD down there.
So you don't think we could hire someone for $12,000 a year and
Yeah, Lisa.
and
would take
then be
it.
on site in the sheriff's department for a secretary? You know, it'd be dual purpose then.
I mean, I brought that to you guys before about having a secretary and combining with the DES. I don't know how it works, because I honestly, I don't know what the job entails, so
Right.
Sure.
that's my problem, I don't know.
You know, if you have got somebody sitting there anyway,
Right,
pick
if I
up
had,
the phone,
yeah,
right, yeah, if this
Yeah.
money would have somebody sitting there, they could do the DES job and
Sure.
pick up the phone, it
Mhm.
would be a plus for you, for
it
the county,
definitely
for
would be.
everybody.
Yep.
Yep.
I mean, I've always thought it would be nice to have a person sitting there instead of them picking up the same phone to, if we're not in the office. But like I said, my problem is I just don't know what the job entails.
Well, for this year, we'll have to leave it this way, but
Yeah.
that might be something to look into in the future.
Sounds like Lisa might be gaining some experience with this thing and.
Or if we could
maybe
keep it
something like
in-house,
that.
if it's,
Yeah,
if it's
and get
better, it's
somebody in
better
the county.
spent here. Okay.
Lisa who?
Rosenthal, the Amber's wife.
Oh, okay. I've never met her. She's retired now, apparently. Huh?
In Florida, you don't have to work 20 years and you're done. So a lot of people down there work 20 years at one PD, retire, and then go work for another PD and
Oh, sure.
get paid extra.
So she's been here since last fall or so?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
August, I think she moved up here.
Okay.
Next one is superintendent of schools. There's nothing there. Courtroom grant. Kelly's not requesting anything. And then you guys are through the general fund.
Good stopping point.
I think you're right.
I know how much work it takes now for you to get it to where it's supposed to be. Check it. You'll send it to me when you get it done.
Absolutely, I will.
Start to feel the pressure in you.
If you guys wanted to do the district court one, I don't know, since
Oh, sure.
Thanks,
Joe's
Wes.
here.
Yeah. Thank you, Wes.
We might as well, since she's here, I can tell you which page that is. If that's not in the general, so we just did the general.
B8.
No, it's not B, it's C now.
It isn't. It says it is.
District court, oh, we moved it.
B8.
Okay.
Where do we send it?
It's a special revenue fund though.
You talking to clerk of court?
Yeah.
No, district court. Yeah, district.
Sorry, give me a minute. Okay, so it's right after new courthouse tax increase.
Yeah, clerk of court,
So
C11.
what's that? What?
C11.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
I've been sitting there looking at that page for a while and you guys told me I was wrong.
Sorry, I thought you were in the general fund.
Right.
Sorry, should listen to you.
Sometimes, not much. Not very often, but once. Blind squirrel finds a nut once in a while, right?
So what I did here is I have a spreadsheet that Connie helped me develop last year to get her salary and the help and all the benefits. So I will redo those as it is for the salary increases.
Yeah.
Are you okay?
Hey, we maybe should have Wes, as long as we're doing this, you should have Wes come back here. We should do regional corrections too.
Okay.
Well,
You're not gonna do school today?
Oh, Wayne's still here.
Sorry, Wayne. He just likes
I'm
it.
sorry,
He likes
you-
being here.
You were hiding.
I didn't even know he was here.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. You were hiding behind John.
I wasn't hiding.
You were hiding from me.
Hey, Izzy.
So I will redo that salary and the benefits
okay.
with all of that other stuff, and then it's, what we did is we came up with a number, that's going to make that bottom number 0. Like it's gonna be basically an in and out. They're estimating the 20,412, and then we came up with the expenses to match that. I thought it was Kelly here.
Awful damn little print on this page.
On the 2.5s.
Like I was saying, the estimated revenue for the clerk of court is going to be 20,412. So then I do have it as the salary and all the benefits going to be that
Yep.
20,412.
Yeah.
So this is going to be just basically a wash,
Yep.
and that's how you guys.
That's good. 31.
What?
31 regional corrections. You're good. Thank you.
Thanks, Kelly. 31 regional corrections.
31.
That's hard to budget, isn't it?
It is. If you look back at 2018 where we spent 52 or whatever,
Yeah.
24,000 of that was one person, so we would have been right around 30,000.
Okay, so that's
It
kind
was
of
a
where you're.
journal that they're expensive and it was.
So this year's budget, Samantha, you have the 23,000 negative balance coming forward into 2020. Balance January 1st. You have a negative 23,000,
23,760, right? Yep.
right?
Right here.
Oh, yes, okay.
That won't
yep.
happen, because we will make this budget whole using the reserve fund.
In the general fund?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, we'll use we'll fund this,
Okay.
yeah. We're using the reserve, so that number there coming forward will be zero, so whatever we fund this thing with, whatever budget we put forward will be from zero.
Okay. So that'll make it for an amendment, correct?
Yeah.
Amendment.
And so far this year, I think we're around, we've used only 20% of our jail bill. It was budgeted 30.
So you think we should just keep it at that
I think
30,000?
30,000 is.
Okay.
Okay.
I think this year will probably be under that, but it'll be right around.
Those odd ones like the 3 clink are
So right now it's-
unpredictable anyway.
We just need to put something in there. It's not like you're not
Yeah.
gonna pay the bill, but you don't wanna have no budget.
Right, Ryan, we really have to still do it this way. But the balance January 1st,
Will be zero.
well, it's gonna be anyway, because we don't put in how much we've spent. We put in what we budgeted.
Mhm.
This can, I mean, you have a negative number from back here too, you're bringing this negative number forward,
Mhm.
yeah.
That's how that formula is set up.
I know.
So it's right.
But see, we made that number whole, so the,
Right.
yeah, this balance here,
Just as long as it
It's
doesn't.
this one that's
Right.
how we ended the 2018 is with that negative balance, and that's where it keeps coming from.
Yeah, it keeps rolling forward is what's been
That
doing.
domestic violence one, that's kinda Jamie's, isn't it?
Yeah, I have no idea what that is.
Yeah.
but I mean, we have to fund that thing.
Yeah.
We have to fix.
No, I was just, I mean, Wes is here, so I
Didn't
was
we
thinking
amend
if he wanted
You
to talk
didn't.
about something else that he had to do with.
No, I would need an amendment to get that one corrected.
Oh, they ran with Fargo, just to be safe.
Okay. So that sounds good, 30,000 for the regional correction?
Yeah, I think,
Okay,
like I said, in 2018, if we didn't have that minor going to jail for so long,
wasn't that in Oregon or someplace?
no, he's in,
Oh,
No.
oh, I thought it was that minor we had. No, that was
That was social
services.
services, yeah.
Yeah.
That was expensive.
We got a big hospital bill for that.
And there is a situation now where, I don't know if you guys follow the state law, but the women's prison is over at capacity, so they're doing a prioritization or whatever. And now they're putting the burden on the counties. If we sentence a female to prison, they're making her stay in county, which is gonna incur costs of the housing, medical bills, all that. So the sheriffs are kind of,
Not so happy.
no.
So then you'd be forced to take them to Fargo or Hillsborough, I suppose.
Well, Jamestown holds for us.
Oh, they do?
Yeah.
Oh, they
Hillsborough,
can,
Hillsborough doesn't hold
They have
females.
separate.
oh, okay, they don't.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought,
No, Hillsborough only takes males.
oh, okay.
So we just have to keep them in Stutzman until they're allowed to go in.
Did we close this out with this balance?
Sheriff leaving out of Bismarck,
Yep,
we had to do
unfortunately we
that,
did.
and he sent the bill to the
That's
state
how,
as a,
Pro
just a.
tip.
Carol's
Yeah,
audit
just-
was gonna
just
show
as-
it.
And there.
But he's still gonna make adjustments now.
Just, he thought it would
Yes,
be easier to keep
We
track of
need
the
to,
county's
yeah.
expenses so that
we
they
need-
could
before we
look
okay
at that in the
this
future.
18 budget, we need to
I
make sure
said,
that we
because I
fix
don't know if
this.
they
Okay.
didn't think
Because
about
then
this.
this will get to zero, and then this will get everything back to where it's supposed to be.
We do have one
Can we by
female
any
that's charged
chance, I
with a
mean,
lot of
Harold
charges that
talked
could go to
about that,
prison. I
can
don't know
we
how
by
it's
any
gonna turn
chance
out.
get it so that there's like an agreement between the commission and myself, that I look through Harold's audits, and if I see anything with a negative balance, then I'm making a.
There's not enough curbs to paint.
Harold needs to be-
Potholes to fill.
Harold needs to have it before we do this.
Okay.
That's the problem.
Yeah,
Okay,
No. That's
good.
why
Thanks,
Harold
Wes.
needs
Yep,
to finish
thank
this
you.
before- Thank you again, Wes, before we get to this. For the record, guys, this is caused by the 18 budget not being final, we haven't closed it out yet because our auditor hasn't been here to close it out. This $30,000 shouldn't be here, that should have been fixed, and that would fix this whole problem going forward.
that's the way he's got it on his 2018 audit, is negative 30,000.
Right, but he hasn't come and met with us yet, and he'll ask us if we wanna make any changes, and we'll say, yes, we want to we can't close with a negative balance.
Sure.
And so again, I don't know how we impress him to Harold that he's gotta be here before we do the budgets.
Yeah, he just gave me that other information that I presented.
Cause it's gonna change the reserve fund too, I mean, it changes everything when you have to make these whole.
right, so.
And
we-
courthouse too. The new courthouse fund, 2160, is at a negative balance of 2,852.
So, road,
Yeah, that's where it was. See,
Can we wait on that? I haven't had time to look that over.
okay, can we wait on that, Wayne?
I haven't had time to go through it all.
Okay.
A lot to go through.
We can do senior citizens, he said.
Oh,
here?
weed. Weed, I think we just carried 60,000 over or something. I don't know,
You've been out spraying now though, haven't you?
sprayed a lot of weeds and trees and
Sprayed last year till too.
Weed.
What channels is that on?
trees, 911.
C29.
What?
C29.
Weed is C29A and C29.
Should be just one. Oh, no.
The salaries of 2019, I don't know who got that, but we didn't, of course, so it must be the county agent or something.
Yep, county agent.
So I increased that by 8% versus what I asked for.
So,
Salary increases.
how much have we spent in weed in 19?
Let's see.
We've spent $638.80.
Okay.
We got some outstanding bills and
Chemical.
chemical we haven't gotten yet from the elevator.
Right, so we're actually that, yeah,
There was budgeted 60,000,
Well, that's a mandatory levy.
yeah. So, and I just estimating we're gonna spend more money on chemicals next year, because we're gonna use up the supply that we built up the year before. I think we got a good start on killing a lot of the weeds out there, so it's really helped. Probably that's.
What are we gonna do? Do we have to have a weed person or not? Or?
By century code, I think you are
We'll
need
probably-
to.
I don't know if
Can't the commissioners be the,
weed board.
there used to be the weed board.
They're the weed board, but I don't know
Not
about
a
the weed
weed board, not
Weed
office.
Weed
officer,
officer.
yeah, weed officer, I suppose.
didn't work very good being the tax director.
Did
I think it used to be the auditor. It used to be the-
All came to visit us.
I used to be the weed officer.
No. You never did.
No, I didn't.
No.
Well, per vote.
Weed buyer, maybe.
With,
I'm the weed bookkeeper.
Who knows, leafy spurge, I don't know nothing about that.
is there a chance like Kenny maybe would take that position? You know, working for right away for all those
Matt
years?
Munson's been doing all of the spraying.
Okay,
It'd be really nice if we could get somebody in the county agent's office, like we do hire a county agent to do it that way, cause that was really nice.
well, that
Anybody
works
that
fine,
came in and did it's mainly for those,
Reimbursements.
lap and tag.
but, yeah.
And then it's a huge long report that you have to do for the state and stuff like that, so it's kind of just,
Copy and paste.
Yeah. 'Cause I don't know if I foresee us having a county agent anytime soon.
We have one now, don't we?
We have,
4-H.
4-H
basically a
coordinator.
4-H coordinator.
Yeah.
3 months? Is it 3 months what we have? 3 or 4, John? Something like that?
Yeah, wasn't it like 100 days or something, 120 days, whatever the.
We'll see how that works.
That's good one.
Next.
That's good one.
Is that a motion?
I wish I could. Hey, I'd have made it a long time ago.
Make a motion to adjourn.
We can adjourn.
We can't, we're not done,
Yeah,
we got
adjourn, we're
state
not done yet.
historical society,
Oh.
new courthouse, old
I think
courthouse.
2 meetings in a row we adjourned without finishing.
Yeah, it goes.
This one would be as expensive as last time.
July
No,
5th.
No,
July 5th, I was approached by some employees that they would like to have asked to have the offices
Budget
closed
meeting.
on the 5th of July. So if you guys would say that is okay that we close the offices on the 5th.
With vacation, you mean, or what?
Well, we asked that it's being paid for, but I did take a poll and the majority of the employees will take vacation to have the offices closed.
We can close on the 5th without taking vacation if we're open on the 4th.
There you go.
I can bring it to them, I mean.
I'm kidding.
The only issue that I have, and I don't want this to be an issue, you guys do have a meeting on the 5th. So if you do say that it's okay for us to close the offices, I'd like to move that meeting to Wednesday the 3rd. If we move it to the next Friday, it's too late to get it. We have to have payments out by the 10th of each month, and then that would be the 12th, so we can't do it that Friday. Anytime other than that day, if you guys decide to close the office.
Right.
Anybody got an issue with that?
You can close, but you gotta take vacation.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that a motion?
And
Been moved by Sean that the
And we'll have-
courthouse
have
be
our
allowed
meeting
to
on the 3rd.
close on the 5th of July and the employees take a day of vacation.
and the commission meeting's on the 3rd.
And the commission meeting be held on the 3rd. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Mark. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. New courthouse, old courthouse. I see we got a letter. So is that,
Is that a blessing if we do all
I
these
don't
things?
know.
That's kinda what I got out of it, but-
I did a 4% increase from last year, and I got.
not yet, not
Well, if
at
we get their blessing, we should.
So do we then now try to employ NDSU to do the deal?
For 21,436.
Can we, who's been, have you been talking to them?
A little bit, I stopped in there one time. So
Okay,
got a hold of the
Is
guy.
that about what I
and,
should be?
so can they give us a kind of a ballpark? Can we budget for this thing or,
You know, yeah, let's see what it's gonna come to.
okay,
And it might not be much at all, I don't know. I don't
I
know.
have no clue.
They asked how much we had available to do. So make them tell us what they'll
Yeah.
wants to do it, and then we can budget for it if it's
Exactly,
within our prerogative to do so.
right. Okay,
It
I
might
mean,
not be much.
you read that list, I think those are all things we can accomplish.
I think
I
so.
hope so. Okay. Anything else in Old Courthouse?
Can we do that, make that get that done before the next meeting, Sam?
I'm sorry.
To contact,
NDSU, can we get a price from them?
Okay, I will send her this letter,
Oh, yeah, do that.
because that's what she was wanting.
Okay.
I think she was just waiting for me to send this letter.
I
and then-
suppose she wants to know the scope of the project.
Sure.
And this is the scope of the project. That's what, I
Certainly
mean,
lays it
this is
out.
a step in the right direction.
Because I did ask her how much money they were thinking, and I never
Yeah.
did get a response, so
No,
I'll just
because
send her this.
we don't know what, we didn't know what we needed them to do.
Yep.
no,
And then they can come out and
yep,
look at the site and get an idea of what it's gonna take.
Yeah. Okay, anything else? Future business.
I'll have
Delaying
the,
those St. Wins Herald coming, do we know? We don't.
that wouldn't verify. Maybe we gotta pay him when he shows up instead of just he submits a bill.
I
I
got,
don't think it'd bother them. I
Probably
really
not.
don't.
highway tax servicing.
By the way it sounds, he's been to the city,
okay.
he's done all that. Been to the school, it sounds like it's the same guy that does
because I
school.
have got that
He does
state
Bedford
aid number
too.
in an
Yeah.
email.
Or.
Did you get that email
Going.
too?
Yeah.
No.
Will we adjourn?
Been moved by Sean that we adjourn. Is there a second? Seconded by Dale. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Meeting is adjourned at 5:07 PM. Next regular meeting will be Wednesday, July 3rd at 2:30.